Hello, trading is closed on February 28th, 2020. We'll go over our calls. We had a MEJT target. We said if we gapped up, especially over this high, that should print. If we didn't gap up, the call was killed, and here were my targets on the downside. Those targets printed, so we'll cross them off the list. Note how there was support and also a buy signal when this target printed, and there was resistance over this target. Market never forgets the MEJT targets. Now most systems give you a signal and you act. MEJT doesn't work that way. MEJT gives you a target and is most helpful not when it's generated, but when the price is furthest away. For example, if the market is dropping like a knife and you want to catch the falling knife, at least the price tells you where there's support. And if you want to take your money off the table, it tells you where there is resistance. Now these numbers look far away. They might not be helpful Monday, but at some point you should print and you should get resistance over those numbers. Here we had a buy signal. It wasn't really tradable because the price printed immediately. Didn't call for a rally of this magnitude. Didn't say it wouldn't happen. But the magnitude wasn't enough to justify a trade. You couldn't press the button to. You couldn't press your button quickly enough because it just happened too fast. But even if you couldn't execute it long, it certainly gave you an excuse to get out of a short. MEJT said this drop was false and prices would go over this line, which they did. It's pretty positive when you gap down, hit a lower low, close over all the lows, and frankly, closed over a whole bunch of highs. It's a reversal formation as long as we follow through with Monday's open. Gapping down smartly kills it, but since futures are up over 30 handles, it shouldn't be too hard to go past today's close by 1 cent, which is all you have to do. We also have a bar completely under the lower Bollinger Band. That's usually too much. Note support from multiple TDST lines. And in addition, even though I'm not the world's best fan of candlesticks because they failed too many times, when you're at or outside the Bollinger Band, their reliability does increase, and that's a hammer, and if you get follow through, it's a positive signal. Now at the end of last year, there were just too many MEJT targets. At some point, the system said these numbers had to print. Didn't say when, didn't say how fast, but all these numbers had to print. These numbers have. These numbers, we came close enough last year. They don't have to print, but they almost always will. We still have 6 numbers. And even though they don't have to print soon, I think we've started a down move. And before it's over, I expect to see some and probably all of these numbers print. Now, we get about 650 targets a year. So in the last 3 years, that's close to 2,000 targets. And other than the higher targets we hit this week, these are the only ones which haven't printed, despite the fact we've been in the strong bull market. Every target from 2018 printed. And the last one after this that didn't print was on April 21st, 2017 at 2344.50. So we have an expectation that before the drop's over, some or all of these numbers are going to print. And when you've got 2,000 or so targets in 3 years, and the only ones which didn't print are clustered in January and a few scattered ones after that, you can see how accurate the system is in terms of price, even though it doesn't tell you when they will print. Here's what we said before, gapping up killed the idea of a rally. Here are the early highs and lows for next week. The idea we have is high volumes associated with market lows. We're hoping to see the highest volume on the day of the low. This is the highest volume on my chart. I believe it's the highest volume ever for the E-mini. And when you throw in a bar completely under the lower Bollinger Band, you have a sign of maximum pessimism, which deserves to be punished promptly. The solid lines gave us the Gann-Fan lines at the high. The same 2 points, dotted lines, give us the Gann-Fan lines at the low. That's not pretty. I don't know what is. And that's support. And the rule is either you gap under support at today's low or the support wins and we get a rally. Well, we had this as the end of wave 5. Today's low undercut the low of this wave. Here's this low was 28.55.94. We trade under it by 10 cents. That means this isn't a correction of the wave because you can't undercut the origin. So that should confirm we've completed 5 waves up. Now, there might be some other way you can contort yourself into thinking we're still in a bull wave from this leg. Might want to make this 1 and this 2. You have to figure out how this is 3. This would have to be a 5-wave structure. It clearly isn't. Might be able to talk yourself into some kind of ABC here. I think you're kidding yourself. If you have to force the count, you should assume the count's wrong. That's the one I just showed. It's still possible. It's just 1 of 5. We got a 50% correction of the last leg. But for the reasons I gave yesterday, I think the bull's over. You won't know for sure till you undercut that wave 4. Here's what I have for Monday. Monday's pattern has the early low. Typically it's a rally day with a high in the final hour of trading. Today we had the biggest E-mini volume on my charts. We satisfied lower targets. We gapped down, hit a lower low. We closed over the in-between high. Another bar completely under the Bollinger Band. Candlestick patterns indicating higher prices in the SPY and lower prices in VIX, which move opposite to it. Have Gann-Fan line support. All we need to do is to continue higher by 1 cent. Should complete the reversal pattern at today's low, lead to a huge rally. I don't know what the biggest point rally in history is, but I think we have a chance to break it Monday. Just follow through, don't gap down Monday, and we should have a huge rally, low to high pattern, and that's today's call.